All right. Now we're doing 7Q, Season 2, The Office 1 Outed. This is by PG1 and 91% of the people like it. So our colleagues have been looking over our shoulders when we should have been doing our boring real job. We've been using the work computers to smash in endless hours of Code Wars. In a team meeting, a terrible, awful person declares to the group that we aren't working. We're in trouble. So we quickly have to gauge the feeling in the room to decide whether or not we should gather our things and leave. So given an object, meet, containing team members' names as keys and their happiness rating out of 10 as the value, we need to assess the overall happiness rating of the group. If it's less than 5, less than or equal to 5, we're going to return get out now, or else we'll return nice work, champ. All right. So happiness rating will be total score divided by the number of people in the room. But we have to note that our boss is in the room, the boss, and their score is worth double its face value, but they're still just one person. Okay. So basically, first things first. We're going to change this into concise syntax because in my opinion, it's a lot easier to test while we go. So we'll say const outed equals, and instead of meet boss, we'll just have m, comma, b, just like that. And let's get rid of these curly braces and turn those into an arrow. Come down here and say console.log so we can test while we go, and we'll start here. So first, let's see what m looks like, all right? Test that out. All right, so we've got this object with the names as the keys and the values as the values, all right? So we're going to have to somehow access all these values by these keys, and I'll show you how. So let's just say B right now to see what that is. That should be the boss. Let's check it out. All right, so we do have Laura right there as the boss. So now that we've got that, let's try to access these right here, these names. So for that, we're going to use the object.keys method, and it's right here if you want to read about it. So what we're going to do here is say object.keys m, all right? And that's going to take every one of these keys and put each one in its own element inside of a brand new array. And let me prove it by doing this. Test it out. All right, so now we've got each one of these. So what we're going to do is we're going to run the reduce method on this so that we can access the, what are we going to do? We're going to access the values by using these keys and then add each one of the values to a result, an initial value, and then we're going to divide that result, which is the initial value, by the number of people or the number of elements in the array, so array.length. All right, so basically, let's get on that. But since we have to divide, anyway, let me stop talking. All right, so let's do the reduce real quick. Dot reduce, and right here's the reduce method if you don't know about it. This one's actually a little bit harder to read than the old ones, so if you want to check out my season 1 videos with the reduce in them, feel free. They have the old style, and it's a lot better. So we've got this. And we're going to say in here, we're going to say R for their initial value. R means result in this case. We're also going to have E for the element, so whatever's inside of the elements. And then we're going to have a comma. No, and then that's it right there. And then we're going to run the reducer on that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say, what are we going to say? We're going to say result plus M at the current element, all right? And then we're going to have the initial value be 0. So after the comma is 0 for the initial value. Now let's test that out. All right, so we've got 22. But the thing is we also have Laura's score, Laura right here, which is 1. So let's do this right here. Actually, we're going to add Laura's score to this right here so that Laura goes through once in here and then one more time here. So the boss goes here, we're going to say plus M at B. So now let's test it again. So now it's 23. So what we're going to do is divide all this by this thing dot length. But since we already have this thing, let's bring it up here. We're going to come up here and just say a now equals this right here. So let's turn this into a. I'll do a control X on that, turn it into an a, and then do a control V right here. All right, so now let's test it one more time. And you see it's still 23. So now we're going to divide this by a dot length. All right, let's do this right here, bring this down, just so I can show you. So it's the length of these 11 people right here. So let's bring this back up, get rid of that, and test that out. And you see now we got the, what is that? Oh yeah, let's put this in a set of parentheses. Test that out. How about that? All right, so now we've got this, which is definitely under 5, and they would want get out now. So we're going to say if this thing is greater than 5, we're going to use the ternary operator. And it's right here if you want to read about it, the conditional or ternary operator. So we're going to say if this stuff right here is greater than 5, we want to return, not get out now, but good work, Johnny. What was it? Nice work, champ. Nice. Let's come over here. Nice work, champ. Exclamation point. If not, all right, we're going to return get out now. Exclamation point, just like that. Let's test it out. Pardon me. Get out now, get out now. That looks good. Let's get rid of this right here and the rest of the console.log. Test it out. Looks good. Thing is, this thing's on two different, this thing's not, we can't see enough of it. This is too small of a space. Let's bring this down. It does an automatic indent if it's right after the question mark in the ternary operator. Test it out one more time. Looks good. Attempt it. Looks good, and submit it. All right, and so there we are. We've got bubblers right here, and all these people felt like they wanted to do it too. Object.keys meet, so they make the array with this one, and then they're doing that array.reduce. The same thing we did, pretty much the exact same thing we did right here. And then they're saying this divided by this dot length is greater than 5, blah, blah, blah. So pretty much exactly what we did, just a little bit more readable. I'm not into that. I'm not into readability when I'm making stuff. I like concisity? I don't know. Anyway, so it's clever. Put it right there. And then this one here, they're doing the object.keys. They could have put it in here like we did. They're doing a ternary operator right here to say if it's the boss, make it times2. If not, make it times1. And then they're doing this again, and then the same thing that we've been doing. So I'll give them a clever. I'll give them a clever. Why not? So let's go over to mine. Just me on this one. I'm going to give this one a best practice, in my opinion. Very much like it, and we'll see you next time.